this is from Valiant Renegade. Scroll down here. He actually kind of lays it out, I think, pretty effectively. I didn't really kind of break it down this way. I'd always been like, oh, it was probably at least 40 million on the conservative end, because I think I did like, I don't even know what the box office take was. It was like 406 or whatever. And production budget is 200. So I was just doing like, I just did like 200 times 2. Numbers. I just did 200 times 2.5. I got a calculator I'm pulling out. I'm doing it right now. Oh, that's totally bad. I forgot the decimal point there. But and that's like 500. And so it's like at least like 500 minus whatever it is the box office is. And then so I was like, oh, it was probably like 40 million or whatever.
Yeah.
But Valiant Renegade says that it probably lost north of 125 million, and I think he has a very convincing argument as to why that is the case. We'll get down here. So here's the actual numbers. According to the numbers, the film grossed 213.7 domestic box office and 250.4 for 464. So that's where I got my 40 million, because I did 500 minus 464. It's around like what, 36, right? So I just rounded up to 40. Looking at the international box office, the film grossed just shy of 40 million in China, United Kingdom 23.1, Mexico 17.9, France 13.5, and South Korea 12.5. And then I think Germany is on there, and you keep going down, and then there's that 200 million production budget. So this is what how Valiant Renegade explains it, and I think he does a really good job. And he says here, in the domestic box office on a movie of this scale, about 55% of that domestic revenue gets returned to the distributor. And that usually, from my understanding, is that the opening weekend, the distributor has a larger percentage of the take. So that 55% number is more of an average, and that take actually gets smaller as the box office window extends. So the second weekend, the take is usually a lot smaller, and the theaters get more of the actual box office take compared to the distributors. So that's where that's going. So like in the second, so the Disney really needs to have these like really high end opening weekends to get more of that box office. Obviously, they'd want longer legs because it's like you get more revenue. You're still getting a good take, obviously. But I think that's kind of where that number comes from, roughly. And then from the international, not including China, it's about 40% in this day and age. It might actually be lower, because he explains here, and a lot of that has gone down a little bit thanks to foreign currency exchange drag. And he explains, saying that meaning foreign currencies on average are buying fewer U.S. dollars than they were a year or two ago, largely due to inflationary pressures. And then China itself, where you only get like 25%, because China is keeping the majority of the box office. So basing it off of this, he explains 214 million at the domestic box office. That's about 118 million that goes back to Disney. So that's like, what, 55% there. And then on the international side, removing the 40 million haul from China, you get 212. And then so that 40% is 85 million. And then China just is a quarter. So 10 million is a quarter of 40 million. And so then you add that up, you get 10 plus 85. It's 95 plus 118. You're looking at around 213. And so then you subtract you should put 464 minus 213, and that's where I think you get 125, or he's got 251. So that's actually 251. So but again, I guess like that of course would not pay for any of the massive marketing campaign that this movie would have engendered. Usually these types of Marvel films, especially big blockbuster films in general, usually tend to command somewhere on the order of close to 150 million. And that's probably about right. And so he explains that I think Black 200, 150. More, so 200 and 150 is what, like that's 350. And so I think that's where he gets the 125. So you do the what was my calculator? It's what, 460 minus 325, I think. 464 minus 325 or 350 is around there. Yeah, that's like 464 minus 350. I can do math. I guess that's kind of I think he took 114, 139, and 125 is kind of in the middle there. And it could be as high as 150. And that is a boondoggle for the Walt Disney Company and Marvel Studios, and it's one of many that they've had in phases 4 and 5. And that's true. You can look at Shang-Chi. You can look at even Thor: Love and Thunder, I think, because it had like a huge production budget. It was like 300, something like that, something crazy high number. I think Black Panther: Wakanda Forever might have been the only one that actually like did really well. Eternals, terrible. Black Widow, obviously COVID movie, terrible. What's the other? What other else is out there that I'm like not remembering?
Every movie I'm thinking of is like pre 2018.
Yeah, Volume Dealer says we're doing the black math stream right now. Downing into math, doing a terrible job at it as well.
Exactly, black math.
Yeah, Scott Steiner said this best. The numbers don't lie, and they supposed. I don't know who's Scott Steiner. I'm not familiar with that name.
He's I think he's a wrestler, right? I think he's a wrestler.
Yeah, maybe.
That's where my
maybe yeah. That sounds about right. But yeah, so it's not looking good. And he actually, Valiant Renegade has this prediction. He says 2023 is going to be the year of the great reckoning inside of the Walt Disney Studio family, and why they're going to have to get their financial house in order, because this simply cannot continue. I would actually argue that it can continue, and they will continue doing this, because it's not about making money for this company. It's about the agenda. I think that's been very clear.
Bob Iger arm now.
Yeah. Bob Iger has made that very clear. They're going to war with the state of Florida. He gets very angry anytime he's asked about that, as he did earlier today during the Q&A session of the investor call. I
heard the clip.
He sounded like super depressed, like the entire show, like the entire investor call. He just sounded really like depressed, beat down. He did not sound like his normal self. He just sounded defeated almost. And then as soon as like someone asked him about the Florida stuff, he just got really angry.
Yeah.
and then went on like a 5-minute rant. It was just like crazy. Apparently there's a Steiner math promo. Okay. Well, maybe we'll watch that after the show. Price of Reason says, realistically, even with all these losses, Disney still has enough assets to weather this type of financial storm. Surely they're not happy though. Yeah, I actually I 100% agree with you, because most of their stuff is still coming from the parks. It's not really coming from the movies or TV show or the stuff like that. They're able to really shelter a lot of this stuff because the parks are doing so well, and that's really their big money maker. And again, I think at the end of the day, these people really don't care about a lot of this stuff. They care more about the agenda they're pushing. The whole Florida stuff really showed that. We saw that in the Reimagine Tomorrow conference, that it was all agenda first. They admitted to having a not so secret gay agenda. They literally opposed that bill in Florida, trying to stop public education from teaching kindergartners through third graders about sexual orientation and gender identity. So, I mean, it's just absolutely wild. That anyone cannot see any of this stuff. That's exactly what their goals are, and they do it through the content that they're doing. They said that that's what they were going to do. Disney CEO Bob Chapek said that while he decided to declare war on Florida. Bob Iger has continued to say that, as he has taken up the banner and continued the war, which actually I think he pretty much started that, because he tweeted about it before Disney even like got involved. He was going after the state of Florida. First on Twitter, kind of led the charge on that. And then, I mean, look at the proud, what is it? The Louder and Prouder family or something like that. I can't even remember what they call it now. Whatever the sequel is, the second season, we saw all of that. It's literally like Marxist propaganda, combined with like the gender identity and all that other kind of stuff. Feminism,
including
as well.
white guilt, right? So,
oh, dude, it's everything.
Literally having like little children feel guilty because they're just white.
Yeah, it's literally it's all of these like crazy, evil like ideologies mashed into a show aimed at like kindergartners and then you third grade.
Right, and then you also have the useful idiots like Mark Hamill. Pushing all of this. Oh, don't say gay. Am I not allowed to say gay? Like, no, that is not what the bill is about. But the problem is that the followers are like, well, if he's saying this is this way, and I'm not going to be able to say gay anymore. It's like, well, yep, no, you just fell into the trap, right? It's just that's basically
You
what
bought
it is.
right into what they were selling.
Yeah, exactly what it is, right? And it works, right? It
For the
works.
propaganda.
Yep, fell for the propaganda,
Which is
exactly.
clearly what it was.
It's time to stop. It's time to stop, okay? No more. Where the are your parents? Who are your parents? I'm gonna call Child Protective Services. It's time to stop.
Parents don't have any authority anymore. That doesn't matter.
No.
Oh, they do in Florida. And Bob Iger's really
Last
pissed
place.
about
Oh
that. Yeah. We got the Proud Family. We had Lightyear, where they were marketing that as like the gay couple in that show, in that movie. The Strange World, I think, was heavily marketed that way. Little Mermaid is obviously the race swapping, the identity politics there. I mean, everywhere you look, there's some kind of new Disney project that is pushing one of these ideologies that they do indeed push, that is pretty much opposed to any kind of traditional Christian values.